This is the J Pitt Show.
I wanted to ask you, so it seems like lately, coming out of your team's Monday morning meetings, the agents have been walking out, like kind of pumped up, ready to take on the day. Hunter Purdue.
Yeah.
What have you been saying to them in there?
What am I saying to the team in the meeting?
Yeah, what's getting them so pumped up?
I've been talking a lot about the market, which we kind of always do. But the message is that the market is better. And I kind of illustrated this on the podcast on a prior episode.
I think it was last week, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's just the market is better today than it was by leaps and bounds in 2019. And 2019 has long been the benchmark for normalcy in my mind. And, you know, in a lot of ways, you can make the argument that it's better now than it was in 22 or 23. You have probably less competition, less concentrated production toward the top of real estate agents. Inventory, you have a fighting chance on the buying side. So that's pretty much what it is. I've also been kind of like moving in the direction of not really having a lot of part-timers around, which the people you're talking about, the ones that are in my meetings on a weekly basis, they're the full-time, lifers. And so that kind of excites them, I think. We have been so efficient over the past few years that if you close a few transactions a year, you can be a profitable agent in my system for me, right?
Yep.
So, but also there's been some people that have not pulled their weight. So we've started kind of moving on from that. So I think that kind of gets the tried and true riled up and ready to go take on the day.
Yep. Cool.
I have to imagine that's what it is. The funny thing is I don't necessarily have that perception. But I do this multiple days a week where I talk to a group and, it's kind of my job is to get people fired up and ready to go to work. And so I'm always I'm constantly evaluating like what works and what doesn't. And, some things I think would be amazing, go over like a lead balloon, and other things like really surprise me.
Yeah, I think it's been like 2 times over the past 6 weeks, Hunter's came in back into the
Fired
office and says he's ready to run through a brick wall.
Well, Hunter's a good dude, and he, he's an athlete, a former athlete.
Yeah, we can't call ourselves athletes anymore.
Yeah, he's a former athlete, and so, but he responds well to coaching,
Yeah.
and so there is some high school defensive coordinator, tactics, fire up tactics that do still work with real estate agents. I always said that our commissions are our scoreboard, and this career lends itself well to former athletes because you always have a place to apply your competitive energy. And so I don't know. That's probably what it is.
Can I tell you one of the weirdest things about leaving the team was, I'd been an athlete my whole life, and then my first 5 years post college, I was on the team.
Yeah.
And so, you're our coach.
Yeah.
So I literally had a coach my entire life. And, you're there for me if I need you now.
Yeah, of course.
I can call you. But
it's a different vibe, though.
It's kind of the first 2 years ever in my life where
you don't have a coach.
There's no coach. It's
there's
very
something,
weird.
But no, you're right. There's no required check-in. There's no obligatory activity. I think that's what honestly athletes do so well, especially elite athletes. And I shouldn't say elite. Elite is NBA, NFL, PGA. Top tier athletes, people above average, well above average. I was a well above average baseball player, right? But I wasn't scaring the MLB, right? I didn't get drafted, that kind of thing. But what I did was I took the obligatory and then I improved upon it. Like I knew I would be evaluated if I didn't show up negatively. And so I would show up and then I would do more. I would look around me and see what everybody else was doing, and I would do 1 step more or 2 steps more. And then I think the people around me would see that, and then they would up the ante. And then in a team, that's how it tends to work. And that's the kind of environment that coaches are looking to foster. when you're in this business alone, you don't have that.
When I walked off my last college hole, I cried like a little baby, and it's because your whole life was sports.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, and golf's weird that it ends after school's already done.
Yeah.
So
Baseball
it was
too.
like a hard
Smack in the face.
done. And real estate was a really nice transition for me because, like you said, there is a leaderboard and you're stacking yourself up against other people. So, I really doubt we have any college athletes that listen to this show. But if you do, think about
current
real
college
estate,
athletes?
yeah.
You might be surprised. I wouldn't say it's like, a religious listen or anything, but like a lot of athletes are already interested in real estate, and I get comments here and there.
Yeah.
But
so if you want that competition leaving school,
it's a great career.
it is.
And and it's all the things that people that don't know what they're talking about will tell you. You do get to kind of make your own schedule. You are dependent upon yourself. See, that was what did it for me. I never wanted to be dependent on anyone else. I never wanted anyone else to have an impact on what I made, or much of an impact. So the career was great for me. It wasn't my first career. As I've said on the show a lot, I was in the mortgage business. It was fully commission though.
Yeah.
So as an adult, that's all I've ever done is full commission sales.
Yeah. Well, same. So.